There is something fundamentally wrong with how we think about winter. Imagine the power goes out in the middle of winter. Modern houses freeze within hours. Pipes burst. Families huddle together shivering. Systems collapse. We see it every year in the news. But for an old farmer, this wasn't an emergency. For him, it was just another winter day. They endured cold that terrifies us today, using nothing but what the land provided. They didn't just survive, they optimized survival. How did they create warmth without thermostats, central heating, or high tech? Which forgotten principles can teach us to be truly resilient today? Let's look at the strategies farmers used for centuries, surviving at -40 degrees Fahrenheit and below. Modern houses often fall apart at 14 degrees Fahrenheit. Why? Because the knowledge is gone. The eternal pantry. The first winter enemy was hunger. After the harvest, the land offered almost nothing for months. No supermarkets, no refrigerators. How did farmers keep food fresh? Drying was the foundational method. Microorganisms that cause spoilage need water. Remove water, stop spoilage. Fruit, vegetables, and thin meat strips were hung from roof beams above the hearth. The gentle heat dried them, food that lasted for months. Studies show properly dried food retains 95% of its nutrients. Salting was next. Salt draws out water through osmosis. Meat in salt or brine became too dry for bacteria. The Vikings perfected this technique for long sea voyages, 20 to 25% salt content, just like modern recommendations. One properly salted pig could feed 5 people for 3 months. Fermentation. Cabbage in salt brine was protected from oxygen. Beneficial bacteria turned sugars into lactic acid, lowering pH below 4.6. Dangerous microbes died. That's how sauerkraut was born, rich in probiotics. For fresh vegetables, there was the root cellar. Below the frost line, the temperature stayed at 32 to 39 degrees Fahrenheit, stored in layers of sand so no vegetable touched another, preventing spoilage from ethylene gas. Everything was systemized: calorie calculation, storage density, meat sealed in fat, confit. A complete system that kept tables full even in blizzards. The living oven. Once the pantry was full, the next enemy was cold. Farmhouses were not airtight, and firewood was precious. How did they survive freezing nights? A single adult produces about 100 watts of heat, not enough to warm a room. But 5 or 6 people together under thick blankets created a microclimate. Families slept together in one large bed. 4 people could maintain 64 to 68 degrees Fahrenheit in a 39 degrees Fahrenheit room, perfectly comfortable. One person alone could keep only 50 to 55 degrees Fahrenheit. Warmth also came from animals. In longhouses, livestock often lived under the same roof, separated by wood. Warm air circulated. A cow produces 1,500 to 2,000 watts, a sheep about 150 watts. Shared walls transmitted heat. Reconstructions show interior temperatures 18 to 27 degrees Fahrenheit warmer, often the difference between freezing and comfort. Beds were raised platforms, 60 to 90 feet above the floor, cold air sinks, straw insulation underneath. The straw mattress trapped air, roughly R9 insulation, similar to modern fiberglass. Combined, body heat, animal heat, natural insulation. A simple bed became a living oven that saved lives where modern houses fail without power. Stone heat storage. The central hearth was the heart of the home, but open fires are extremely inefficient. Studies show traditional hearths lose 80 to 90% of heat through the roof. How did farmers keep that heat through long winter nights? They turned fire into portable heat with stones. Large, dense stones were placed in the coals. Not random rocks, soapstone held heat best. Granite worked, sandstone was avoided because it cracks. After 2 to 3 hours at 800 to 1,000 degrees Fahrenheit, the stone stored massive heat. An 11-pound soapstone heated to 800 degrees Fahrenheit could heat a small room for 6 to 8 hours. Before bed, they pulled the stones out with tongs, wrapped them in thick wool, never linen, it burns, and placed them at the foot of the bed. Warm feet equals warm core. Fast flame heat became slow, steady radiant heat. A simple, brilliant winter heat battery. The ash bank method. Lighting a fire on a medieval winter morning was hard work. Flint and steel with frozen fingers and damp tinder could take 15 minutes or more. Farmers invented a method to never let the fire die, the ash bank method. Before bed, when the fire had burned down to glowing coals, they raked the coals into a compact mound, 6 to 8 inches wide. Then they covered the coals with 2 to 3 inches of hardwood ash. Hardwood ash insulates well. Its fine particles restrict oxygen. The physics: ash stores heat, reduces oxygen, and the coals smolder slowly at 400 to 500 degrees Fahrenheit. No flames, no burnout. After 12 hours, they pushed aside the ash. Underneath, the coals still glowed red and orange. With dry tinder and a gentle breath, the fire ignited in 10 to 20 seconds. No re-sparking needed. Modern tests: properly banked coals last 18 to 24 hours. Charcoal, up to 48 hours. This saved 40 to 60% of firewood. The key wasn't keeping the fire hot, it was keeping it alive. The winter wardrobe. Without central heating, you had to wear your insulation. Medieval winter clothing was engineered, multi-layered insulation long before modern outdoor experts coined layering. The skin layer was always linen, surprisingly. Linen wicks moisture better than any natural fiber except silk. Farmers working and sweating stayed dry. Water conducts heat 25 times faster than air. Staying dry was survival. Over linen came wool, the backbone of winter survival. Wool traps millions of air pockets, can absorb 30% of its weight in moisture without feeling wet, and insulates even when damp. Multiple thin layers created more trapped air. A typical outfit: wool tunic, over tunic, wool trousers, wool hood. The outermost layer was a heavy fulled wool cloak, naturally water repellent from lanolin. Extremities were sealed, leather boots greased with fat, thick wool socks, mittens instead of gloves, wool hat. Tests show, even at -4 degrees Fahrenheit, core temperature stayed stable, fingers above 59 degrees Fahrenheit. Not primitive clothing, refined survival gear. The snow insulation barrier. Modern logic says snow is the enemy, cold, wet, dangerous. But farmers in Scandinavia, the Alps, Eastern Europe, and the Russian steppe used snow as insulation. They piled snow against their houses intentionally. About 2 to 3 feet of compacted snow along the north wall, the wind-facing side. Snow is 90 to 95% trapped air, pure insulation. Fresh snow, 1 rand per 1 inch. Compacted snow, 1 rand 50 cents to 1 rand. 90 cents per 1 inch. Hard-packed, 1 rand 7 cents per 1 inch. A 2-foot layer gave 18 to 21 rand, like modern fiberglass. The air gap added R6 to R8. Total, R24 to R29. The same required in modern cold region building codes. Done precisely. Only after first big snowfall, lightly compacted. Only on windward walls, angled outward so meltwater drained. In severe winters, snow surrounded the whole house, half igloo style. Even today during power outages, snowbanking reduces heat loss by 30 to 50%. Farmers didn't fight snow, they recruited it. The calorie loading strategy. Modern nutritionists say, limit fat to 20 to 30% of calories. For a medieval farmer, that would be a death sentence. In summer, fat intake was 20 to 25%. In winter, it rose to 50% or more. Not ignorance, but metabolic strategy. Fat, 9 kilocalories per gram. Carbohydrates and protein, 4 kilocalories per gram. Hard work demanded 3,000 to 3,500 kilocalories daily. Dense calories mattered. A tablespoon of lard, 115 kilocalories, the same as 2 large potatoes. Winter fat intake boosted brown fat activity by 45% and basal metabolism by 12%, according to a 2014 study. Internal heat generation without extra movement. A farmer's day, fried bread for breakfast, fatty pork with beans for lunch, barley porridge with butter for dinner. About 3,000 kilocalories, half from fat. Fat wasn't unhealthy. It was fuel for an internal furnace. The art of tallow. Animal fat wasn't waste. It was a survival tool. Tallow from cows and sheep, lard from pigs, fuel, food, protection. Slow rendered at 180 to 200 degrees Fahrenheit, it stayed good for months. Tallow candles burned at approximately 13 lumens, weak by modern standards but priceless in darkness. 1 ounce burned 4 to 6 hours. Rubbed into leather, tallow made boots waterproof, critical against frostbite. It was applied to wool cloaks, gloves, ropes, and tool handles. It was cooking fat and food itself, and skin protection. Applied to hands and face, it formed a wind and cold-resistant barrier. 1 substance, 7 functions. Survival engineering. The fat layer. Medieval farmers rarely bathed in winter. Modern people think it's unhygienic, but physically it made sense. Soap removes sebum, the skin's natural protective fat layer. Sebum is hydrophobic, antimicrobial, reduces evaporative cooling, and protects against wind. Water conducts heat 25 times faster than air. Even slight dampness chills the body. Farmers who worked with sheep discovered lanolin's effect. Their hands and faces didn't crack or freeze as easily. Some applied lanolin or rendered fat intentionally before working outside. A 2009 U.S. Army study showed untreated skin loses 110 watts per square meter in cold, humid air. Lanolin-treated skin lost only 78 watts per square meter, a 29% reduction, enough to prevent hypothermia. The fat layer wasn't filth. It was winter armor. Farmers didn't die from cold. They survived it systematically through body heat, animals, snow, stones, fat, clothing, and precise food storage. Modern houses, high-tech but fragile. Power out, heat gone, people freeze. Survival isn't technology. Survival is understanding nature, materials, and physics. Systems that work even at minus 40 degrees Fahrenheit. If you apply these principles, you can survive winter even today when systems fail.